Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. In this video, I want to talk about coping with change. There's all kinds of changes all around us. I just want to talk in some generalities and use some examples. Those of you who are aware, I'm on a 3-4 affirmation campaign, starting the 3rd month, and then I'll have a 4-month dwell. This really actuates a lot of changes in my life personally, and I think it's better than the 3-3 or these other plans that I have previously suggested. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, basically, to understand this reality that we live in, you have to understand how it works. And the notions that you were taught in school or in religion or whatever, they're all wrong. They're just wrong. Okay? Basically, it's a quantum world we live in, and it's controlled by thought. And I have techniques on the website, obviously, that you can use to navigate to cause things to happen in the way you may want them to be. But in general, if your affirmations are working, you say, I don't like my current life right now, and I want it to be this. And so you start an affirmation campaign, and you look at your fate forecast, and then you make a judgment on which elements of the life you want to change. Then you start doing your campaign. You never stop a campaign. Once you start on a campaign, you're going to alter your world line templates. So just keep on going. Okay? And if things are going right, you're going to start seeing some change. There's going to be discomfort. You're not going to like the discomfort. But that's a good thing, because right now, if you've never done an affirmation campaign before, you're living a life that may be okay, but it's probably not. There's a lot of stuff you don't like about it, and for you to change that, you've got to make turns. You've got to make turns. You've got to go up hills. You've got to go down hills. That's uncomfortable if you're used to sitting on a flat and level ride. Today I want to talk a little bit about change. Adapting to change, handling change, discussing change. Change. Change is what we should all be going throughout our lives. It's the rare person who was born and then died and never had to experience change. They exist, but most people go through changes. And changes go from everything from physical changes to emotional changes to geographic changes to political changes. There's change everywhere. And you're like, yeah. Tell me something I don't know. But look, changes. The manifestation of changes is all controlled by you. It seems that you're in this world where everything else is controlled by other people. That's an illusion. Everything's controlled by you. So you can alter your change. Let me get a drink of water here. My throat's a little dry. That is water, it's not coffee. I already drank my coffee before I did this, or started this. Now change, those of you who have been married and then divorced and then remarried, or have live-in boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, knows about each person being different, and then it's an adaptation period where you kind of adapt, and there's things you like about that person or things you don't like about that person. And one of the first things you realize when you get older is that everybody's really different. I gotta tell you, one chick like this is completely different than another chick over here. Doesn't matter. As you get older, they get even more different. So, it's like having cats and dogs. They all have their own personalities. Everybody has personalities, right? I like cats. Dogs are cool too. I got an old dog. I think he had a couple of seizures and he's just kind of bumbling around. I feel sorry for the guy, but he's developed old dog habits, and one of which is peeing everywhere and shitting everywhere. And that's unacceptable because we got a little kid, It's just, we can't do that. So he's on the porch. We had him on a big porch, and he kept on getting lost on the porch. And so we got him on a smaller porch now. It's kind of hard to get lost on something that's 1 yard by 1 yard square, but he's still kind of not altogether there. Change. Maybe that'll happen to me one day, huh? Change. This morning I woke up and checked my Metallic Man website, and there was some bunch of forum articles by a new guy who just came on there. He posted 3 comments. All of them were cut and paste. He makes $12,000 by going to this one website, and he is so happy he's financially secure. Well, good for him. Guess what? You guys know what happened to him, don't you? First thing I did is I banned him. The second thing I did is I tracked him down. Third thing I did is turned off the forum. Not too many people are visiting it. And the fourth thing I did is, well, I'm prepping for a nice sending to the cornfield for him. And I don't want to hear any complaints. Well, all he did was this and that. I don't care. Ignorance is no excuse. If you stumble into a minefield and your leg gets blown off, tough titties. Okay? The jackass is going to the cornfield. And there's no hope for him, and that's too fucking bad. He'll be too busy to invade other websites. Why does he do this? Well, it's all about money. It's all about greed. Money and greed. More money, more greed. That's what happens when you live in the West. Money and greed makes everything move. Anyways, that's a change. It'll be a change for him. And when I woke up and I saw some jackass posting stuff on my forum, that was a change, and I didn't like it, so I took action. I took immediate action, and then I took preventative action. Because I didn't like the changes that he was imposing upon me. Anything on my website is going to be imposed by myself. It's something that you learn when you get older. You define the roles, not somebody else. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, this world, sometimes, I say. I watched a video with Chris Rock. He's talking about Jackie Chan. Now, Chris Rock and Jackie Chan were in a couple movies together, Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2, which I enjoyed. They were great comedies. And he went on over and visited Jackie Chan in China. Old friends. And he aged pretty well, actually. He aged pretty well. Yeah, a little bit chunky or whatever. He looks okay. Change. Here, check out the clip.
Why were you in?
That's pretty good. I found it very interesting. I like some of this stuff that you see. One of the things I really like when I moved from the United States to China is all the pretty girls. Chinese women tend to eat better food. It's not GMO laden. It's not a lot of deep fried stuff. It's not a lot of colas. It's not heavy sugar pastries and cakes. While they're here, it's not the primary meals. The primary meals are basically rice and fish and salads and vegetables. And so the Chinese body reflects that, and they tend to be thinner. And that's suitable to me because they tried to keep me thinner too, because, if I would still be in the States, I'd be a more heavier man. I'd be a bigger man. I'd be, bigger, maybe a big gut, like this. big ass. I'd have to have a big car to get around in a big house and big sofa and all the rest because I'd be a bigger guy because I'd be eating all this food. But I moved over to China and I'm eating healthier food, and I really like that. That's a positive change. And the Chinese women, all sizes and shapes, all builds, everything else. I do like the different fashions here. You know, it's different for us guys. Us guys, you know, I just wear black t-shirts all the time, you know. But the women, you know, depending upon your build, different clothing looks better on you than other clothing. And for some people, a tent, you know, just a big tent with a ring around it, they put it over, they look really good in it. Other people, you know, it doesn't. Some people, you know, they can show a lot of skin. Other people, you can't. But the reason why I'm saying this is that when you go from one environment to another environment and you see a change, it's refreshing. Sometimes it's a good change. Like, for instance, I was never a big tattoo fan, but I know a lot in the audience have tats. Come from China. Tattoos are not that popular because it's viewed as something ugly and dirty. It's just the culture of the Asian culture. Same in Japan. You won't be allowed to swim in a pool if you have a tattoo. And other things related to that. Doesn't mean it's good or bad, it's just a different culture. And a different culture is all about change. The big changes that are, I'll tell you what, before I hop on that, I want you to look at a couple of girls to see what I'm talking about. These are, of course, you know, the girls, they're in their 20s or whatever, maybe a couple in their 30s. They're just wearing some nice outfits. Mostly the girls show what we call a fish-shaped body, which I find alluring, but that's just for me. Everybody has different bodies, and that's okay. It's okay. If you're young, when I was young, I liked to dress nice and take care of myself, and these ladies are doing well, and I say good for you. But when you're seeing something different, you're not seeing the gals who are wearing the tattoos and waving their big spandex asses, you know, some boom, 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 bass-laden booty music, you know, I'm gonna kill that whitey sucker, I'm gonna kill that whitey sucker, that kind of stuff. You don't see any of that stuff here. That's a refreshing change. So check out some of these chicks, will you?
Em biết em si tình, tình 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 tang tang tình, tang tình 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 tang tang tang. Giây phút em gặp anh là em biết em si tình, tình 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 tang tang tình, tang tình mình tình tang 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 tình.
There's a 欢迎继续收听你的月亮我的心，好姐姐就是我，我就是你的好姐姐。
เธอทำหัวใจของผมนั้นไหลเธอทำหัวใจของผมนั้นไหลบอกเธอสัก
Yeah, I like looking at girls. I like eating good food. Geopolitical stuff, I mean, I could make entire videos on this geopolitical stuff, and you know what? It's just everybody pontificating about stuff that they know nothing about.
A positive message scares the out of the ruling class. All they want to hear is, why don't we have a world war with Russia and then China? Let's do that. Isn't that a good... That's what Blinken, he says it every time he opens his effing mouth. And it's disgusting. And it's like, the Chinese can't encircle Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. The encircling that's going on is the encircling of China by the United States of America and their attempts now to push NATO into the South China Sea. You cannot rule the world. That's my message to Joe Biden. Joe, forget it. Take those 1,000 bases that you've got all around the world that are trying to encircle China and Russia. You can destroy the planet, but you cannot rule it in the future. But it's for the Chinese people to make those decisions. It's none of our business, and it's certainly none of Nancy Pelosi's business.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
For her to go over there poking the Chinese people in the eye with a stick and shows that she has no idea what diplomacy is or the ways. My worry is that our attachment to being constantly at war is somehow driven by the desire of the ruling class to make profits from the armaments industry. This is what Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us against.
Absolutely, in his farewell address, yeah.
The hypocrisy of supporting the state. I wrote a letter to the president of UFA last week or the week before, suggesting how hypocritical it was to ban Russian teams from international and European competition. How come it's all right for an American team to go and play in Qatar when they illegally invaded Iraq in 2003?
I did see, I was riding the bus today and I'm watching the videos. And one of the videos was this White House spokesman who was asked some questions. There was an Asian girl in the audience. And she asks, you know, how can you possibly say that you are not provoking China? And he's like, well, we're always sticking to the one China policy and blah, 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 and rhetoric this and rhetoric that, and manipulation and this and that. It's like, and I'm just watching it. I'm thinking, do you really believe what you're saying? China is angry. That's obvious. You did something to upset China. Duh. So don't justify it. Say, well, you didn't do anything. They're irrational. No, they're not. You fucking climb on my porch, I'll blow you away with a shotgun. So, anyways, geopolitical stuff is such a joke sometimes. I gotta tell you what.
洒的海底，远山的风景，我们的距离
着谁，心徒留几道伤。
报道领走爱的美妙，笑一笑，投入你怀里，然后撒娇，不需要别人来讲。
The thing about change is that it often involves emotions. You fall in love, you're filled with love. You lose a business deal, you're filled with envy, sadness. You're in an accident and you feel anger and you feel pain. You have a relationship that breaks apart. You feel hurt. There's always an emotion attached to change. And we have to control the emotions. And I guess that's what I want to talk about here. It doesn't matter if it's reading something angering on social media about geopolitical stuff, which happens to me often, or somebody tries to invade the website, which has happened occasionally, but I cull them. It makes me feel good when I send them to the cornfield. Burn, suckers. But also, there's this controlling of the emotion is very important, because if you don't control your emotions, the emotions take over. And often that results in other things. You've seen a terrified rabbit crossing a street at night, and suddenly fear grips it and it starts running around in circles in front of the car. A deer freezes in fear and you hit it. Okay? A cat freaks out, runs out of your arms and runs across the road as fast as it can. Fear, anger, frustration. Anger. You get angry to somebody and you pick out a gun, you blow them away, and you're spending the rest of your life in prison. If you don't control your anger will control you. If you don't control your emotions will control you. That's why for those of you who have roles within careers and roles within industry, realize this. You realize that there's not really much options there. You have to hide your emotions, be level-headed. Nobody wants to hear the pilot scream into the microphone, "We're gonna die, we're gonna crash, the engine's out." You don't want to hear a doctor scream, "I don't know, I think we're gonna lose this patient." You have to control your emotions at all times. You have to be methodical. But it doesn't mean you get rid of the emotions. You're just controlling its manifestation. Bad people use manipulation of emotions on others to control them. That's the primary methodology used in the United States. People are going round and round in circles, very, very angry a lot in the United States. I can't believe all my friends, and they're running around with such anger inside. It's like, Jesus, guys, calm down. You can't. Everything is Vault 7 modified. Those of you who don't realize, Edward Snowden sent forth something called the Vault 7 leaks of techniques that the United States government uses to control people. And it's basically directed. It can be used internationally, but it's functionally directed at Americans. And basically what you do is, it's not just algorithms that control what you watch, it's algorithms that control how you think. It's designed to induce anger or frustration or happiness or love. So when you see these NPC people are like, Biden is wonderful, oh, everything is good, or you see the people who are like, Trump, yeah, America, America, America. These things are all being manipulated and massaged to make you go down certain paths, just like you herd cattle to shear or butcher. Same thing. Have you ever wondered why American tax deadline is in April? Yeah, well, that's when sheep are sheared. That's when you shear the sheep. Strange sense of humor, huh? For the U.S. government, the fuckers. Anyways. So this control of emotion, it's very, very important. It doesn't matter what it is. Now, I'm a big believer in the rule of three. I've talked about the rule of three before, in that always have three friends. Okay, it's the rule of three. Friends will help you when you can't help yourself. But the rule of three goes in other ways too. For instance, if you're going to choose a partner to get married, 1/3 of your time is with that partner. So you have to make sure that that partner is good, because a partner can make or break you. Those of you who have gone through a divorce can attest to this, right? I had my first loving wife, and I loved her dearly, but she had a mental illness, damn near killed me as she dragged me down this black hole. Who you marry has the greatest effect on your happiness, so choose it wisely. Another third is your career. Do something you like to do, all right? That's a career. Doesn't matter what it is. Do something you like to do. It's about 1/3 of your working day. 1/3 of your life goes to your career. Do something you like to do, goddammit. Not what somebody says makes more money. Do something you like to do. And the other third is sleep time. Have a good bed, all right? I mean, you're going to spend 1/3 of your life in bed, all right? Make sure it's a good bed. So basically, you want to make sure that you have three basic fundamental things taken care of in your life. A good partner, a career that you like, and a good bed. And you take care of those things, everything else is going to pretty much follow, but you're still going to have to deal with people trying to play around with your damn emotions, like this fucking guy didn't realize he was goddamn dealing with. And my response is, okay, you're at the cornfield and I'm not going to worry about it. I haven't actually sent him. I set the systems in place. I have to do the work on it. For those of you who think that it's an easy thing and a trivial thing for me to do, I got other things to tell you. It's not easy. It's not trivial. Okay? And it's a pain in the butt to undo. So once you set something in motion, it's done. I remember might have been a night gallery series. It was a television show in America where these kids didn't like their teacher, so they found a book of spells, and then they wished him dead, and then they're like, oh no, he's dead, I wish him back alive. And then they come back to school and the zombie teacher has extra powers and stuff, and everybody's studying really quick. They changed their reality. They didn't know what the forces they were dealing with. Know what you're dealing with. Don't be influenced by other people unless you want to be influenced. Control your emotions, regardless. And besides, the world's going to shit. How I noticed most of the people in China and in Taiwan, aside from the leadership, are pretty much, everything's fine and dandy, our side. But the American influence leadership is just, they're just fucking nuts. Now you're going to be reading, watching YouTube videos, checking out things on social media, and they're going to be talking about invasion of Taiwan, this, America must do something, and blah, 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 blah. And they're going to be reading stuff about Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine and Russia. Meanwhile, interspersed with that, there's going to be more restrictions on whatever freedoms. I don't know how anybody can say there's freedom in the United States. You can't say anything. You can't write anything. Okay? You may have the right to own a gun, but you can't have the right to use it. I mean, what kind of freedoms do you got? Yeah, you got a right to trial by jury. Less than 1% of all criminal cases are handled by a jury. And at that, It's almost 90% of the time you get convicted, so nobody really wants to have a trial by jury. They just plea bargain out. I mean, what kind of country is America become? But that's all about change. And things can change to a certain level where it has to start changing the other level. It's like going up a hill, then you come down a hill. It's always a cycle. It's all the yin-yang. And therefore, whatever comes up must come down because of the law of gravity and so on and so forth. So you don't get too worried about it, right? But what you do have to understand is you have to control the emotions during these periods of changes. I'm going to tell you there's going to be some angering things and upsetting things that's going to happen to all you in the future. Those in the West, it's going to be more so. You'll be a little bit more frustrated. You'll be trying to strike out and blame other people. That's not the way you handle your emotions. You have to be calm during these periods of strife and trials. You have to be proactive during these periods of strife and trials. And you have to show leadership qualities. Be ready. And for those of you who, for somehow, don't experience any change, well, don't worry. Change will always come and find you one way or the other. And at that, how you handle it, well, understand that I believe in you. That's a fact. I believe in you. And you will do fine because, well, you know, belief in one's ability is very, very important. Take care.
我拨开狼烟迷雾，看东方日出，长城巨龙舞。我踏个10万里路，将海里征服，胸怀一腔抱负。我挺起脊梁傲骨，数风流人物，挥山河如初。这一笔尽是宏图，要春风来骨，为往神州故土。曾看过草木盛衰荣枯，也听过功过与荣辱度过，万卷圣贤诗书。 领教过离心刀法如踏遍三山越一路，也横渡云河走江湖九州，月色照千万户，将相思离愁平复。我身在华夏民族，壮志可敬这个福，一气如虹，真心火燎原地数，问千古谁能拦住历史脚步？当年梦里想战虎。 衰荣枯，也听过功过与荣辱度过，万卷圣贤诗书，领教过离心刀法如踏遍三山越一路，也横渡银河走江湖九州，月色照千万户，将相思离愁平复。我身在华夏民族，壮志可敬这个福，一气如虹，真心火燎原地数，问千古谁能拦住历史脚步？